G'day, g'day. Hope you guys all having a good one. Today I'm gonna be doing a Groot tutorial. So this is gonna be split into two parts. First part is making the base height map, and then the second part is doing a bit of animation and extra cool stuff. So right now, what we have, I'm just gonna break it down. I have an inspiration from a prior lava scene, I guess, that I've made, and then sticking that with a combination of this. I was testing earlier today. Ideas around this isn't very good at the moment because it's just testing, but animating a fault line that breaks up and splits up a scene. And I think I've come across something that I quite like, so bear with me with this. This is going to be quite a tricky tutorial. This breaks it up quite a bit, so you can play around with a lot of these settings, increasing the indirect, the emission, whether you want I don't know, the bloom radius, if that's what you want. You can turn on the fog, the density if you want it more dense, less dense, so forth. That's all options. So yeah, from a basis, we've got a pretty cool looking lava rock. If you don't like all that, you can always go and input this. And, it looks pretty good as is. So I'm going to explain how to make this basic lava rocky kind of design. As well as the second part of the tutorial, we're going to be going off how to make a fault line, animate it, and have like lava underneath of it and all. So just running through that as well. As you can see, we've got some nice fault breakup, and you've got some cool lava going, and I think it looks pretty cool. So in the last update, I believe 0.1.4 alpha of GeoGen, we've recently been able to do a bit of animating and so forth. So I've had a bit of time to play through that, and I'm just going to quickly bring up something that I was working on in my own time. GeoGen Showcase. Coming in over here, we've got this, and I played around a little bit with planets and planet destruction here, and this kind of gave me, I guess, a bit of the idea on how I could approach this. I'm probably not going to make a tutorial on how to do planet destruction like that, unless you guys request it, as it's extremely basic, there's not much to it, and it's pretty simple. A lot of you guys can probably figure it out pretty quickly. It took me about 10 minutes to make. So if you guys want me to make a separate tutorial on this, then go ahead. I might as well. But for time being, this is super simple. I'm going to make it two separate videos because I want to make one on how to make lava rock and a separate one on how to animate, as, they go kind of hand in hand. But they're kind of separate. Some people are just after the animation, some people are just after the lava rock kind of design. So we'll go and we'll make this, and it'll look pretty cool. So I'll quickly save this one, and I'll jump cut it over to when I'm ready to start it off. Sweet. So first thing that we're going to be doing once we have everything open, we're going to be going into the base, and we're just going to be playing around. So I guess to fully explain, I guess, what we're trying to achieve here is we want it to be smaller. So, increasing the scale of everything and then just lowering it will give us a nice kind of folded look and should overall achieve mostly what we're after. So it's really simple from basis. It's just a base node and a warp noise. That's all you're going to need for this. And most of it can be done in the base, and then the warp will just be some final touches to add some slight improvement. So first step, super simple, increasing the scale. We do this, it can be whatever you want. It's not really going to show off anything that we really, are after straight away. But as soon as we start bringing down the height, the relative height here, you can start seeing, what we're trying to achieve here. You've already got a pretty nice basis already. It's not perfect, jumping up to the higher resolutions can sort of give you that awesome result. And maybe, hey, maybe this is exactly what you're after. And, I've kind of just done it all for you for, in like, it's, 5 seconds. But we're going to do some slight touches up, some slight changes. And maybe you prefer this to what I'm going to go over. Maybe you prefer what I'm going to be going over. So it's worth still watching. But this is a pretty good basis already. So I'm just going to lower the resolution again, maybe to 2K. Next up, what we're going to be doing is maybe increasing the offset just slightly, just so we have a bit more play room for when I do the defaulting. But, I mean, that's not too necessary. I'm going to be increasing the amplitude to, I guess, enhance these details, this warpage, these awesome looking designs we have. Next up, we're going to be decreasing the octaves just because it's quite overbearing, like going over to 4K, right? Maybe you want it and you like it being super, super high detail, super, lots going on. For me, I want to lower it a little bit, not too much, keeping it in the 5-6 range. Potentially, going up might give you a better result depending on what you're after. I might actually increase it a little bit. And with that, we're pretty much done with our base note, right? Like, this is about what I want to be going with. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it looks good. Really crisp, really clean. I mean, to show it off, right? If we go and increase the sharpening, right? I mean, you're getting some pretty cool looking designs already. And decreasing the, gradient here to like a nice dark gray. I mean, that looks really cool, right? That's pretty damn, what we're after already. You can really just either stick with this or play around with your warp node. So all I'm going to be doing is grabbing my warp node, going to increase the warpage here. Overall, this depends on what you're kind of after, right? So I'm just going to decrease this once again to 2K, just so it runs a little bit better. Moving it up to about 2000, somewhat around there. Increase the rotation folding a little bit. That'll give you some cool designs here. So maybe that's, what you're after. I'm going to shove it to around there, maybe. Increase the output. I don't think... Oh, okay, so it does do a little bit. Increase the output warp. A little bit. There you go. Now you're getting... So what I like over this is it's very... well, you probably still need it. I mean, if I... shove in the basis, right? Warp noise. So this is the basis of what we're working with. What we're going with now. We're just adding a little bit more rolls and stuff like that to it. Overall looking really nice. Really clean. From here, we're just going to be changing it from Perlin to Voronoi. I prefer Voronoi for these, for this design. Perlin also looks really good. And from here, it's really where we're at, right? I'm pretty happy with it. Change the seed if that's what you're after. If you prefer one of these designs, you can play around with the seed and it will give you different results. I'm pretty happy with what we have here, so I'm just going to preview it in 4K. Really happy with how that's looking. I'm going to quickly save this and preview in 8K just to quickly get a little look to see, full quality what we're going to be getting. Sweet. So with 8K loaded, it's kind of taken a bit of a hit on my computer. I'm just going to go back to remarching, and it looks pretty sick, right? There's a heap of detail in this. It looks really nice. I'm really happy with how this looks. So next up, we're going to be going into coloring it all. I'm just going to bring it down again to 2K, just so it runs really nice. Once again, I did have my sharpening up, so, I can decrease my sharpening if that's not the result that you're after. I like high sharpening for these closer ups just because it's closer. You want to see the small discrepancies a little bit better. Like, the small changes in all the rock and all the noise, I guess, added into it, especially in the amplitude of the ground relief. So with here, it's pretty standard what I'm going to be doing with this. Just, I guess we'll go into colorize and change it. I'm going to be changing it to the color gradient. Now, you don't need to do this. If you like the single color, go ahead, right? You can change it, maybe make it darker if that's, if you want a really dark lava rock. I mean, maybe this is better. Maybe it's worse, depending on what you're after. I'm going to be adding a little color gradient. I already have one that I've worked on prior, so I'm just going to import this. Feel free to search up, lava rock, right? It's all black and all that, feel free to get your own color schemes and everything there. I'm pretty happy with the one that I've already, gathered myself. So if you want to use the exact same one that I have, feel free to just, drag your, just click this, drag across here, and it should give you, as you can see, the same result. So if you want the same result as me, feel free to do that. If you want a different result, feel free to search one up. So what I'm just going to be doing here is I'm going to be deleting these. Just so I'm sticking with something like this. This is going to add a little bit of red. I might actually not do that. Sometimes I like to have a little bit of detail here, but depending on where I want my master occlusion to be, it can sort of break it up. So I'm actually going to remove that. I'm going to be increasing this here on this color mask. And all this is doing is just changing, where the color, how the colors, I guess, are being affected, right? So what part. So I believe here we're getting quite a lot of this, right? Whereas here we're getting a lot of these later parts, right? So I'm going to be bringing it up to later parts. I'm going to be adding changing this to terrain lock, and this is going to be adding a couple bit more details in here, in the ground and stuff. So all I'm going to be doing here is you can play around with this, right? So depending on how you're following along, maybe this is going to look similar for you to me. Maybe it's not going to be too much. Just playing around with these, you can sort of see here, right? So what this is doing, right, is it breaks up this. And all these gaps you can see like this, oops, a bit too much, purpley blue over here. As you can see, all we're doing is breaking, it's just breaking up mainly these areas here. And it's, not going to look too amazing, right? As it is, but it's just for breaking things up, right? From here, we're going to be going into the master occlusion and, just playing around with that a little bit more. So increasing the fine size a little bit, up to maybe 0.5. So this is going to be changing up how much, detail is in this, right? So I'm going to be changing it to around maybe there. Decreasing the filter width. This just changes the overall design. It's not much more than that, right? Then last thing I'm going to be doing is just moving this. Bam. I just want a little bit of these weird, cool little details here to these portions. And all I'm going to be doing from here, adding a adjust node. Color adjust, as I always do. So you can always change it. And from here, just playing around with this, right? I might leave it as it is. Play around with the saturation, just desaturate that. I'm going to darken it quite a lot. And here, as you can see, all this does, right? All this, you're getting a little bit of blue and stuff here. You can play around with these if you want more or less of that, right? I like it as it, just changes it up a little bit, It adds a little bit more detail to it. A little bit of color difference and stuff. And I think that adds a bit of, cool, I guess, design to it. It makes it a little bit different, adds a little bit more, maybe it's a bit like rocks, right? Kind of can just imagine it to however you want. So you can play around with the value maps and stuff to get a result that you're after. And once again, we're pretty similar to what we were before with the original single color. Whereas this was kind of more yellowy, and here we're going very bluey. So I prefer the bluey, as it sort of, I guess, is the opposite to, when we're adding all the lava and whatnot, where that's really orange and red and yellow. Those are very warm tones, whereas this is kind of the opposite with blue. But once again, you can change the these. If you want to go something like this and then decrease the saturation and decrease the color, you can get yourself a more yellow toned one as well. But that's not what I'm going to be going for this, and that's all up to you, right? And, kind of the look that you're after. So I'm pretty happy with this. I think it looks really good. From here, once again, I'm not showing off the faults. I'm not showing off all the animation in this, but I will show off a bit of the emission. We're going to get a little bit of emission going on for this. So we're just going to be doing, you can either do single color. I do believe I have a preset, and I'm just going to load it up. I'm not too sure how well it will look. I haven't tried it, but I do have a lava preset here with a bunch of different colors. So I'm going to try this, see how it looks, but I'm not too sure how well it will go. I'm just going to add a mask, and I'm going to add an occlusion, I believe. I might also plug in the gradient, considering I'm not using a single color. From here, we're going to add the height map to height map. Make sure you do this. Now, as you can see, where is the, bloom, where is the emission? We're not really getting too much. We'll add that, okay? But for now, we just want to make sure that we're getting, I guess, the result that we're after. So here we can kind of play around with this to kind of get the result. I'm pretty happy with that. I might make a little bit more, a little bit of readers. Maybe that. Once again, like I mentioned before, you're not going to notice this too much. Like it's not going to be too much until we add the emission, which I'll just quickly preface this. It is, Control 3 will add the emission. That's going into path tracing. Once again, you can go into, I believe light mapping and path tracing both allow this. It's just ray marching that doesn't, but I'm going to be playing around with the master occlusion to get a nice result. Now, I don't like it being all this crazy amount of stuff here, right? So we're going to play around with some, I guess, values here, and this will give us a little bit of thing. Then we're going to add an extra, what do you call it? We're going to add an extra mask on top of this just to change it up a little bit and make it not so, I guess, crazy with how it looks. So from here, we're just going to be increasing the resolution of it. You can kind of play around with whatever, suits. I'm going to go back down to 2K once again, just for the sake of it. I might actually increase that once again to make it super high detail. Then we're going to be fully decreasing the fine size, and we're going to fully increase the filter width. I might actually increase that a little bit. Increase the contrast as well. I might increase it to about there. This is all completely depending on how you do it. Now we're going to add a background mask, and our background mask is going to be a masked propagation. From here, we're going to be playing around with some values here. So what I'm going to be doing, decrease the required neighbors. Let's see. Oh, make sure you plug in your height map. That will help. And here, this is going to make it a lot harder for it to come up. So from here, we're going to be increasing the neighbor required to transition a little bit. Play around with the slope angle a little bit. Just playing around with these values will give you a result that maybe you're after. Let's see. I'm going to be actually viewing this. So, I'll go over this. So we'll go add some emission here. This is in the render. Increase the emissive boost. Increase the... lower that. So this is, it's, I guess, the threshold of what is getting the bloom applied to it. So as you can see, when it's very low, you can see bloom getting applied there. You can see when we move it, it takes it away. So just increasing that, increasing the bloom intensity a little bit. We'll change it up. I'm not too happy with the color scheme we have at the moment. So I'm just going to play around with that. So this increases how much bloom, I guess, we're getting from it. So I'm just going to keep playing around with these. Your setup's going to be a bit different, however you decide to do it. So, let's see. That changes the brightness of it all. I think I'm going to go pretty high once again. And just playing around with the propagation will remove portions of it. Just playing around with these a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead with it. Not too happy with any of these results, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's not too bad, but it's also not entirely what I'm after. I want it to fit more into the gaps a little bit. I'm going to bump it up to maybe 4K just so we can see a bit crisper. I want to decrease it, but I also want it, as you can sort of see what's going on there, it's kind of on or off, you know what I mean? I'm just going to view the mask. Here, I see. I might try adding a background mask, I think should do it. Playing around with this. Here. what we're going to be doing is I'm going to add that mask there of a mask noise, adding maybe a warp as well to it, and give some cool results. And with this might give us some cool results here. Just playing around with a bit of this. Let's see what results we kind of get in. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, maybe. Just playing around with the noise here. So the rotation. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. It's not perfect once again, but it is pretty nice. I might change the... Let's see what results we're getting with this. Interesting. What would it be if I changed it to single color? Not too much of a difference, to be honest. Color green. Some slight differences. This gives you some different values. It's alright. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't. I'm not too sure. Might play around with some, let's see. Just thinking about how we can make this look even better, but... Maybe it's pretty good. I'm not too sure, actually. It's just very splotchy. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it, I guess. It could be improved. If you guys have any better ideas for how you want to be applying it, feel free to do that. I think potentially just playing around with some seeds might give you some different results. Just very dotty at the moment, as opposed to my previous one, which is not dotty. A bit confusing on why that's, you know, giving me pretty different results there. But I don't know. I'll play around with it again, maybe in the next video that I upload. But for now, first video, it looks pretty good. I might just do some slight additions here with some fog, some turn down, you know, turn that down a bit, you know, bring down the light. Add some fog. We're going to be playing around with some fog color schemes here. What do we think there? We're adding some indirect boost here, some occlusion, some eccentricity, or however you pronounce that. Maybe add some density as well. Decrease the scale, increase maybe the coverage, might give you a nice result. And here you can get some pretty cool looking lava rock. It's a little bit too dark for me, and it's a little bit dense. Let's see. Ta-da. Can I play around with these? Depending on how big you want these lava rock, like these might be really big lava rock, maybe it's really small. Let's see. There's not much that I can actually see here. Oops. Where is it? Distortion here. So a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's what you're after, maybe it's not what you're after. Just playing around with these, maybe giving it a bit of red tone as well. Can give different looks as well. Increasing the bloom and whatnot can kind of give that look back again. The emissive boost. Emission might bring down the bloom. Give you some cool looks. Yeah, maybe you like the lava, maybe you don't. There's probably different things. If I could probably go on a tangent for like 30 minutes playing around with different masks, getting different results. And, you know, maybe that would work out better, maybe that wouldn't. I'm not too sure, right? Like, I don't want to extend this for too long, so I'm probably going to end this video here. I'm going to work on the faulting video literally right after this and see what kind of result I can get with that. But, you know, maybe, you know, if you're still interested in this, continue watching and watch that tutorial as well, as that might, you know, I might stumble across something that might change something and might improve it, but also, once again, it, you know, I might not be able to figure out what's really messing around with it. So I'll play around with it, see what we can get with the faulting, make that animation, so forth, and it will look pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully it's been helpful, informative, and you enjoy it. This has really been a 5-minute tutorial with 30 minutes of me playing around with parameters to try and improve this lava here, but unfortunately haven't really gone to a result that I'm too happy with. I kind of prefer with what I got before, but hey, maybe that kind of is just one of those things, right? So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a good one, and we'll catch you next tutorial. Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.